everyone, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our weekend weather update and the outlook for next week. And we've got a cold change that is sweeping up the nation right now, but it's not going to impact the North Island as much as it's going to impact the South Island. Today's wind map is the Misery Index. We haven't used this for at least, I think, a couple of years. And this is showing in blue the areas that are below zero with the wind. So that's a significant portion of this map. And you can see some parts of the South Island, this was taken this morning, Friday morning, showing that blue through the mountains and just a little bit up here around the hills and ranges of Central Plateau. But you can clearly see the cold front, and that is what is arriving overnight Friday and as we go through Saturday. So let's move on into the Saturday setup, and here is that cold front that we just saw. So we'll see snow flurries potentially overnight or first thing Saturday morning, down to 300 or 400 meters around the South Island. It may not settle, and certainly not going to accumulate too much at those levels, but around places like Queenstown, Arrowtown, maybe Lumsden, you might get a few flurries. And if not in your township, it might just be on the hills very close by. Moves into Canterbury as rain, that falls as snow in the mountains as well, and above probably 400 meters, maybe 500 meters, and into the North Island sou'westers, which aren't that cold. I mean, they're cooler than what we've had because we've had subtropical nor'westers and northerlies, but it's still leaning warmer than average in many parts of the North Island. So let's go through Saturday because there are a few things to talk about. We'll start off with the rainfall. This is the 24-hour rainfall, 6 a.m. Saturday through to 6 a.m. Sunday. So Canterbury's got rain. Remember, that's falling as snow. Well, we've got a snow map in a moment. The areas in yellow and gold, that's around about 10, 15, maybe 20 millimeters of rain. Down here in the green and the blue, and up here in the green and the blue, that's the very lower end of the scale. So you're just talking showers coming through for those areas, and obviously snow flurries above a few hundred meters. Here is the snow map. Now, you're really talking 5 to 15 centimeters of snow, the dark blue, obviously up in the mountains. And as you go into the North Island, there's just a little bit of snow around Central Plateau and maybe coming down towards the Wellington, Waited Upper region up in the hills. But, you know, it's not going to be very much. But you might notice the dusting of snow once the clouds clear away. And also the temperature map. So we said it's colder than average as you move up the South Island, dark blue, 4 to 8 degrees below average, and it's more than 8 degrees below average in that one little dot there, mostly up in the hills. And as you go into the North Island and also the West Coast, Nelson, Marlborough, you're actually leaning either average. When there's no colouring and you see the green, that's average temperatures for this time of the year, but everyone else leaning a little bit warmer than usual. So the cold change isn't going to affect everybody. So by Sunday, that dark blue line there is basically telling you where the cold air will be. So the South Island's got another surge of cold weather on Sunday, and colder weather moves into the North Island, but it stops about sort of Taranaki, Central Plateau. North of that, it's still cool, but high pressure is nearby, and that's expanding into that area, and it's shutting off how far that cold weather will travel. So once we get into next week, it is all about that enormous high over Australia. Look at that. It goes all the way from Perth, stretching all the way out past the international date line, several thousand kilometres across. New Zealand's only 1,600 kilometres north to south. So this is a huge system moving through, and it's going to dominate our weather. You'll notice the westerly winds might just get a little bit warmer in some places as we get into next week, although Monday is probably the coldest day for the North Island. And later on into Tuesday, you'll notice that there'll be a little bit of a warming up going on, just a little bit, a degree or two here and there, as the high moves in a little more. And while the winds are still southerly and southwesterly, it's the origins that's changing. So when you track the origin of those winds, it's coming out of, you know, Alice Springs area. So while it is cooling down still as it moves up around the country, it's not as bad as it is as we go through the Friday, Saturday, Sunday portion. And our final map is for Wednesday of next week. It shows a bit of a southerly around northern New Zealand with isolated showers, a few showers on the west coast, but probably mild and leaning warmer than average by afternoon around the eastern side because you've got a westerly coming straight out of Australia. So that is all from me. We will see you again next week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.